Don't put yourself for any wahala. If it is Caroline's fight, let Caroline fight her battle.
But you told me to be careful of Miriam and Sophia, that they don't have my back.
It was when she said, Dabota, you are a snake. You went blah, 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 blah from 8 years ago. I was like, wow, are we living in that time? Me too. I can easily say, I don't with you because once upon a time you used to date my ex. Before I could say anything, that fled up.
Welcome back to Reality Check with me, Adaeze. Here we discuss reality shows, movies, trending topics, and topics I find fascinating. And finally, we are at the very end of the Real Housewives of Lagos season 3. The reunion was divided into 2 parts. I have already covered 1 part. There's the first part in a previous video. You can go and watch it if you want. But today I'm covering part 2. And yes, finally, I understand what happened between Dabota and Carolyn. I now get what the problem is. I now understand. I now see the full picture. And I'm going to be breaking it down to you guys, okay? So those of you, well, basically all of us, but those of you who have been confused about the relationship between Dabota and Carolyn, I'm going to lay everything out for you now so that you will understand what exactly the problem is, okay? We start the second part with Dabota and Laura's issues. Well, they don't really have any serious issues. It's just about how Dabota said that, Laura responded to the person she sent to the KG blog, and Laura said that, when Dabota was getting the attention, she liked it. Now they're talking about her child, she's now upset, right? And Laura was trying to explain to her that she never said that, and Dabota said she believes her, that she didn't say it. Then Laura now said that in the show, that half of the things that she said about Dabota, that she just wanted to say something, just to do something, right? And I'm like, you see this show, I won't say the show is scripted, okay? I won't say the show is scripted. However, if you have been watching me from day one, I keep telling you guys that this show is not as reality as some of you are expecting. So that's why sometimes your reactions or the kind of takes that you guys give, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, yes, the show is a reality show, but at the same time, so many things are exaggerated for the plot, right? So many things are done for the plot, not necessarily because they are real. And Laura basically confirmed it by saying, half of the things I said about her, I just wanted to do something. If you watch the show, it is obvious when people are just being dramatic for no reason, especially in their confessionals, okay? So you see all those things that Dabota will be doing, carrying this one, Carolyn will be speaking English up and down, giving extended descriptions about people, even all the ones that, all those things that they do. Miriam will be reading people, and I whoop, that is so annoying. But you see all those things they do, they are just doing it for drama's sake. It doesn't necessarily depict how they really feel about each other, okay? Dabota goes ahead to say that she would like to get to know Laura, that actually she doesn't have anything against Laura anymore, that she would actually like to get to know Laura. And then Miriam now jumped in and was like, that this Laura is a witch, that Laura actually does not like her. That's what Miriam said, that Laura does not like her, right? So we now enter into Laura and Miriam's issue. You guys remember when during the show, Laura teased Miriam about how she flung her robe in season 2 and Faith flung the robe. Like, she flung her robe and Faith took the robe and just tossed it, right? And then in her confessionals, Miriam was now saying that, why did Laura have to go there? That does Laura want her to bring up the fact that Carolyn called her a runs girl, right? And then in real life, when this scene aired, Laura went on her page and wrote a Dear Miriam, like her caption was something about Dear Miriam, about how putting women down, this, that. I can't remember what the post was about, but I remember that Laura made a post and she titled, like, the beginning of the post was Dear Miriam, and it happened while the show was going on. So Miriam was now saying that, why is it that Laura likes to play victim after she has triggered somebody? Like, you can't trigger me and then try to dictate how I reply you, okay? Then, Laura was not like, but why didn't you tell me? When I said what I said, at Carolyn's event? Why didn't you bring it up to me, right? And I understood where Laura was coming from as well. I understand both sides, because if you guys watch this show very well, you will see that Laura actually throws real shade. She'll be laughing, but she'll be saying the one that will pepper you. Like, she knows how to throw shade, but I don't think she knows how to take it. Miriam, on the other hand, because Dabota tries to point out the fact that Miriam, you too, you also laugh and you throw shade. Miriam, on the other hand, she knows how to throw shade and she knows how to catch it. She will just be going back and forth with you. Like, she's not going to now come out, like what Miriam said as well. She's not going to now go on social media and start forming woe is me. I don't think Miriam has ever gone on social media to form woe is me, even from season 1. I don't think so. I think that's Carolyn and Laura's specialty. It's Carolyn and Laura that used to do woe is me up and down. But I don't think I've ever seen Miriam do that. She will just do what she has to do on the show and move on, right? So they had this back and forth. In fact, at some point, Laura was really upset. Laura was really even told Miriam F you and stuff like that. Another issue that Miriam had with Laura was that she felt like Laura wasn't choosing a side, right? And if you guys watch this show again, it was quite obvious that Laura was trying to, let me not call it outrightly play both sides, but Laura was trying to be on good terms with everybody. Laura was not really anchored anywhere. She was more like a floater. She was always like the loner who was just trying to be cool with everybody. And that's a dangerous game to play, right? I mean, it worked out for Laura this season, but that's a dangerous game to play, because you try to be friends with everybody, you now become the enemy of everybody, because, or you don't build real relationship with anybody because they see you as two-faced, they see you as someone who speaks from both sides of your mouth, or they see you as someone that will come and meet them and say something and then carry their gist to the other party. Even though you might not be doing that, but when people see that you are trying to be cordial with everybody, they tend to have that perception of you, okay, which is fine. Like, it's okay for people to think that if you are sleeping well at night. To be honest, I won't say, oh no, you must choose a side. You don't have to choose a side. As long as you are okay with what you are doing and you sleep well at night, everybody should carry their sides and be going. After all, after they finish picking sides, they are blocking each other on social media and unfollowing each other on social media, which I'll get to. But yeah, so we can't force Laura to pick a side when we know that all these ladies don't really have their backs. Like, aside maybe Dabota and Diadem, of which aside the two of them, every other person there can flip on you at the drop of a hat. So I don't really blame Laura for floating. However, these are the consequences that come with floating. Just accept it if you're fine with it, and if you're not fine with it, then maybe you should choose a side. We then get to Laura and Carolyn, and basically Laura is saying that the reason why she did not apologize to Carolyn, or why she said she doesn't apologize, is that she didn't want to apologize to Carolyn and then fight her and then look stupid. And to me, that felt like, even though maybe not, it wasn't intentional, but it felt kind of like shade to to Carolyn, because Carolyn is always quick to apologize, but it doesn't stop her from fighting you the next time. She will apologize to you now, but tomorrow if you try anyhow, she will take you down to hell, like she always says, right? But that was what Laura was not saying. Laura was saying that, that she needs to correct what she said on the show, that it's not like she doesn't apologize, that she does say sorry, but she wants to be sure where she is with you before she apologizes to you, because things can go south. And she then reveals that her and Carolyn were okay with each other up until a few weeks after they all hung out, and then afterwards Carolyn sent her a very long message. I remember, let me read that message to you guys. "You spoilt my name to Dabota and Diola in season 1 without telling them how you were going about saying I slept with small boys in my marriage, reason why my marriage broke. Then had the nerves to attack me because of your sister who was dragging my 2-year-old child online. Yet you still went ahead to tell Dabota and Diola all sorts of rubbish again about me, same way you were telling me rubbish about Dabota, Sophia and Miriam. Laura, when I am done, you will regret messing with me. You want to be a manipulative human. I will teach you a lesson never to mess with me ever again, ever. Now I know you are the devil. Did you ever apologize to me after all the rubbish you said about me? Today, after I heard from Dabota, I knew you were the snake joining heads together, and you don't like Dabota with all your stupid lies. You literally refused to come to the beach when Dabota was hosting. I was ready to pay, but you will see the ladies and be smiling like a goat. You were the happiest when the ladies were quarreling. Even so, I'm ready for you face to face. This time we will go to hell. Hold your heart tight. Caro, Ogene, what is happening? You guys, I think one thing I have realized about Carolyn, I think I said it in the last video as well, is that Carolyn goes to the extreme for everything. Now, make no mistakes, this text message or WhatsApp that she sent to Laura was very intentional. In fact, I think she knows that Laura was going to air this thing. Okay, so don't be there thinking that she doesn't know what she's doing. She knows what she's doing. When she was writing this message, she knew what she was doing, and she knew that Laura was going to expose it. Now, I think what happened here, these are just my opinions, whatever, take it or leave it. You people will always accuse me of being biased. That's one thing that baffles me on this my channel. Today you will come and say, oh, you're biased against Dabota. Next tomorrow you will say, oh, you're biased against Carolyn. Another time you come and say, oh, you're biased against Sophia. Another one you come and say, oh, you're supporting Sophia. Like, hasn't it occurred to you at this point that maybe I am just saying what I see on the show and how I feel about each person, about each action? I'm not going to say, oh, because I like Carolyn, then whatever, everything she does is perfect. Then because I like Dabota or I don't like Dabota, then everything she does is evil. No, like, it's okay to say this person, I mean, you are fun here, you are okay here, you are a vibe here, but in this other place you are terrible. It is okay. That's how I watch these shows. I don't watch these shows. I'm not a fan of any of these women. Okay, I don't care. Like, once I edit this video and put it up, I move about my day. I don't really care what they do outside of the show, right? Like, outside of, in fact, I just don't care that deeply to really form a bond or attachment to any of these ladies. So anyway, the host Uti was now asking Carolyn that, okay, where do you stand with Laura and all of that? Like, what's really going on here? And then Carolyn proceeds to say that the problem she has with Laura is that you come to Laura with open hearts, you know, trying to get to know Laura, trying to be cool with Laura, not knowing that she has some things against you beneath, okay? That she will have things against you and be saying things to other people about you and then be smiling in your face. I can see where Carolyn is coming from about this Laura's issue, because I remember saying it on the show that this Laura, you are smiling with Dabota, but you will now go to the confessionals or even with the other ladies and be saying, oh, Dabota, this your queenly behavior is not it, you're forcing it, you know. You smile with Diadem and then you're talking about Diadem in your presence and you're not really defending Diadem, or you're not really saying much. To me, let me tell you guys the truth. If you pay attention to Laura, I feel like Laura doesn't genuinely like any of these ladies. I feel like Laura is just positioning herself with some of these ladies because of her business. That's how I see it, okay? And I said this in my previous episode. If you know, you know. Laura is a businesswoman, okay? And she's a typical Lagos girl. She's a businesswoman and she's all about her money. All these friendships, all this, I don't think they're Laura's cup of tea. And that's fine, okay? Like, that's totally fine. It's okay to have your own core friends. I'm sure she has her own core friends, like maybe childhood friends or friends that she's really close to behind the scenes, or even her sisters. That's fine, okay? The problem is that sometimes the way she goes about it, it now seems like she's just being a snake or being two-faced. So Carolyn was then saying that Laura would come and tell her things about the other castmates, and then she would go to the other castmates and tell them things about Carolyn, right? And, you know, Laura was trying to deny it. Now, if you guys watch this part of the reunion very well, my verdict is that Carolyn was saying the truth and Laura was lying, okay? Now, let me explain. Now, when Carolyn was saying that Laura would go to this cast member and tell this cast member to be careful of the other person, Laura interrupted and said, oh no, that she only talked to Diadem and Sophia, and she sees them as her sisters and blah 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 blah, and that she told them that they should just stay out of other people's businesses, that they should not fight other people's fights, right? Then Carolyn then said, but Laura, you told me. That's one thing about Carolyn, okay? People are saying, oh, Carolyn is lying. I was seeing some takes online, I'm like, what has she lied about? Like, the most that Carolyn does is she will omit the truth, okay, and I'll get to that. The most that Carolyn does is she will say everything else and she will just omit certain things, right? Because right there and then, to the ladies' faces, she will say, you said this to me, you said this to me, and many times they will agree that they said it, or if the person wants to lie, the person will say you didn't say it, and she will just leave it. She won't even insist. If she says you said this and you say you didn't say it, she'll say okay, but she will tell you to your face that you said this thing. Like, deny it if you want, but she's not saying it behind your back. Anyway, so she now said, Laura, you told me to be careful of Sophia and Miriam, that they don't have my back. Laura now said, no, I was talking to Sophia. Carolyn now insisted again that no, you told me. It's not about what you told Sophia. You told me to be careful of Sophia and Miriam, that they don't have my back, right? Carolyn turned to Sophia and said, isn't that what I told you that she said in Ghana when you were shouting at me? I told you what Laura said about you. So Uti then asked Miriam, do you believe that Laura said that? In fact, I think Laura even said it, that do you believe I said that? Miriam now said, you know, this group, things can be said. In fact, when Carolyn told me that Laura said this, I just laughed. Like, Miriam didn't take it too personally because she understands how the group works. I think Miriam is the only person there who really understands how reality shows work. Like, she knows how to bring the drama, she knows how to be part of the drama, but I think she knows how to brush it off as well and just move on. She then asked Sophia if she feels like Laura was playing both sides, and then Sophia then says that, see, to be honest, she didn't think about it at that time. She didn't think about it that way, but that right now that he has said it, she's beginning to think about it that way. But that at that time, she wasn't really concerned about what Laura said. She was more concerned about Carolyn, okay, because Carolyn was really hurting and all of that. So basically, what happened was that after the altercation between Carolyn and Dabota, it's like the next day, Carolyn and Laura met first before Sophia went to check up on Carolyn. So when Sophia went to check up on Carolyn, Sophia was, trying to talk to Carolyn. She noticed that Carolyn was getting really defensive, and she was like, but what's wrong now? Like, when you know your friend and your friend is now acting shady or being defensive towards you, what's happening? So basically she probed. That was when Carolyn then told her that the reason why she's acting this way is because Laura told her to be careful of Sophia and Miriam. Okay? Now, why do I say I believe Carolyn in this particular scenario? The way Laura was acting shows that she was lying, okay? Because the Laura that we have watched on this show from season 1, whenever you lie against Laura, she does not take it lightly, okay? Laura is not the type to be saying, you do believe her? Yeah, I didn't say it though. No, Laura, when you really lie at her, she gets really offended, or even emotional. Look at when she was talking to Dabota and was trying to, even though they've squashed their beef before, she was still emotional, trying to tell Dabota that she did not say that thing that Dabota thought that she said, right? Even with Miriam, when Miriam was accusing her wrongly, the way she was acting, even with Carolyn in season 1, when Carolyn said they brought you to pimp you, the way she was acting, it showed that she doesn't like people lying on her. She even said this, she doesn't like people lying on her. So why did I reach this particular incident and you're now saying, do you believe I said that? Or you think I said that? Or do you think I would have said that?
But you told me to be careful of Miriam and Sophia, that they don't have my back.
Caroline.
And you asked me in Ghana if that was what she said, and I said that was what she said.
No. I said, Sophia, don't fight anybody's battle. I know what I said to Sophia, and because of the love I have for Sophia, I do not want people to think that they are ganging up against anybody. God.
When you asked me in Ghana, was that not what I told you? Was that not what I told you, Miriam?
Miriam, do you believe?
On this group. Miriam, do you believe?
Sophia, do you believe I would say Caroline?
I believe
I was trying to hide it from you, right? When you shouted at me.
No, that's not Laura's typical behavior, okay? Okay, so if you understand human psychology, if you understand human behavior, if you study human behavior, you can tell when somebody is lying, not because of what they do, but because of what they do not do in certain cases, okay? So in this particular case, I was like, Laura, thought through now, you said it. And it's okay if you said it, because it might not even have been said in a malicious way, okay? Now, to play devil's advocate, what I think might have happened was that maybe when Laura came and heard how Carolyn and Dabota got into it, because Sophia kept probing and probing, she might now be like, yeah, or maybe she even asked, oh, what did Sophia do when this thing happened? And she now heard, okay, maybe Sophia did not do anything or whatever. She might now be like, you have to be careful. These people don't have your back, because if she had your back, why would she press for you to try and squash GP for something? You get what I'm trying to say? I'm trying to play devil's advocate here, right? So I'm not saying that, oh, Laura came maliciously to come and say, don't be friends with Sophia, this one. No, it might just be that she was just looking out for Carolyn in that instance, that be careful. Then another key part that I took note of. Now, you guys know that right now on social media, Carolyn is not following any of the ladies except Miriam, okay? So not even Sophia, who she was, chumming with throughout the show. She's no longer following Sophia on social media. And everybody has been wondering, why they're not following each other? What happened? Now, this next thing that happened gave me an inkling into what might have caused them to stop being friends, okay? Now, when Carolyn was talking about how Laura was advising all the other ladies and all of that, then Uti now said, Sophia, do you believe Laura? Sophia then said that she took what Carolyn said with a grain of salt, with a pinch of salt, because Carolyn has no reason to lie to her, but at the same time, Laura has no reason to advise Carolyn to be careful of her, right? I'm sure that one was the first blow to Carolyn. Like, oh, you're supposed to be my friend, but you're here playing. Again, same thing I always say, if you try to play all the sides, you to fall on you, right? If you're ready to deal with the consequences, that's totally fine. So you could see on Carolyn's face that she was like, huh? Carolyn then asked Sophia, didn't you say that Laura told you to be careful of me and Miriam? Sophia then responded that, oh no, she told me that I should just be careful of the ladies in the group in general, that I should just be careful and I should not pick sides. Carolyn still repeated the question, and Sophia says no, that Laura only meant all the ladies in the group, just be careful generally. And at that point, on Carolyn's face, I could see a mixture of disappointment, realization.
She told you to be aware of myself and Miriam as well.
Don't fight anybody, fight.
She just told me that with the entire collective, I just need to not pick sides when it comes to a fight.
So you didn't tell me that she said she should be careful of myself and Miriam.
She just said I should be careful.
Sophia's like my sister.
And maybe even confirmation, right? You know, when you've been suspecting that this person or when you think that you and somebody are like this, and then the person then does things that now shows you that no, it's not the way you're thinking. That was what I saw on Carolyn's face in that instance. And she was like, okay. She glanced at Miriam like once or twice, and she was like, okay, that's fine. Almost like, okay, no wala, nami effort, nami kosam. That's look shot on her face. At some point, she even said, it is well. That was when I could tell that Carolyn was actually hurt. All the other things, I don't even think she was really hurt. What really hurt her was Sophia's response, and that's because of how she really liked Sophia, right? Anyway, next we now finally address the biggest elephant that has been in all the rooms since, the season aired, right? Dabota and Carolyn's relationship. What's up with that? Now, let me tell you guys what I understood by both people's stories, right? Carolyn, for the most part, was saying exactly what she said from the beginning. So people that think that Carolyn is lying, again, I need you to come and point out what Carolyn lied about, because everything she said from the beginning, everything she said on social media, everything she said on the show was exactly what she said again. She just added more context and more extra information, but it was everything she said again, right? Dabota, on the other hand, now said, because she hasn't really told us much about her relationship with Carolyn or what happened, but she now said her own perspective. Now, here is what I think happened between both ladies. Carolyn, right, saw Dabota as one of the few people in this world who understood or who could understand her or where she's coming from as an ex-billionaire wife, okay, or billionaire ex-wife, right? An older billionaire ex-wife, right? How many people in this world, except maybe Regina Daniels and, you know, and the likes of them, how many people in this world in general can actually relate to being a young wife to an older billionaire? There are very few. So Carolyn saw Dabota as somebody who she could relate with on that level, and she immediately embraced Dabota, right? So when Dabota was having issues with a friendship or whatever, Carolyn reached out, or Carolyn intervened, and, you know, Dabota reached out to her. And you guys, you need to go and watch the episode because it's very long, but I'm just trying to tell you guys the summary, right? And, you know, they now became friends in quotes. Even on the show, Carolyn said, we're not really friends, we're not really like close friends, but just as another woman who, you know, I can feel her pain, right? So they were not really like close friends or anything. They never claimed to be close friends. However, Carolyn expected more from Dabota as somebody who, oh, I was there for you in your time of need. Then when I'm now in my own time of need, I expect you to be there for me, or at least don't rub it in. Do you get? However, I think on Dabota's own part, she just saw Carolyn as just another social media friend. Okay, that's how I see it. She saw Carolyn as just another social media friend that, oh, maybe we saw once or twice, or I went to her shop once or twice, she came to my thing once or twice, we talk online once or twice, or, you know, we solicit for each other's help once or twice, but nothing really serious is going on between us, right? While on Carolyn's own side, and I think that's Carolyn's personality difference, right? That's Carolyn's own personality. On Carolyn's own side, she saw the interaction she had with Dabota as that of a very cordial relationship where, even though we don't owe each other anything, technically, we kind of owe it to each other to have each other's back. Do you guys get my point? Do you guys really get what is happening here? And I was able to piece this from, and to be honest, let me tell you guys something. Even this Dabota and Diola's friendship, yes, it blossomed to become even more. But if you go back to how it really unveiled on the show, from Dabota's end, it was almost like, oh, I like Diola, no, we are cool. But on Diola's end, it was like, Dabota is my person. Do you get? Until it now became very mutual between the two of them. But initially, it was more on Diola's side. So I think that's Dabota's personality. If you guys are not like tight, she doesn't regard you as someone that she owes anything or someone that she needs to be extra, you know, whatever with, right? If she needs your help, she'll ask for your help, but it doesn't mean that she's not going to be doing too much with you. Okay, now, right from the beginning up until the end, Carolyn said that the problem she had with Dabota was that Dabota knew that she was having or going through her marital issues at that point, but still went with her friend to Carolyn's husband's house, right, for a party. Because Carolyn was expecting, oh, as a girl's girl, you know, that kind of thing now, you know, when you just expect, oh, girl code, even though from Dabota's end, she doesn't owe Carolyn anything, but from Carolyn's end, she expected Dabota to have that girl code of, you know, not going to my house, right? But the miscommunication there is that Carolyn did not know that Dabota did not go there with the person she thought she went there with. So basically, the person that Carolyn saw on Dabota's Snapchat is an ex-lover of Carolyn's husband, right? Or one of Carolyn's husband's lovers, or ex-husband's lovers, right? However, she did not know that that person is not even close friends with Dabota. Dabota just put her on her Snapchat and all of that because, oh, they used her products on the lady, and also the lady is even friends with Dabota's cousin. Carolyn thought that Dabota went with Daniela to her house. So it's almost like, oh, my husband's mistress brought you to my house. No. Dabota had a friend called Nike. Nike is the event planner. Nike invited Dabota to the event. Dabota went there and saw Daniela. That was when she now did snap of Daniela. Are you guys getting the whole confusion now? So Carolyn's hurt was that, oh, you are close friends with my husband's mistress and you now want to be, cordial with me. Carolyn then saw it, then reached out to Dabota, and Dabota did not respond to her well or something. She then blocked Dabota, right? Then she said Dabota even came to her WhatsApp and, gave her a nasty message or whatever, and then she blocked Dabota on WhatsApp as well. Now, Dabota was trying to deny this part, but when Dabota was telling her own side of the story, she said that when she met Carolyn, that's years after when she met Carolyn then said, that's on the show now, Carolyn then said, oh, you didn't look for me, or you forgot about me. Then Dabota now used her mouth to say that, if you block me and then, get out of character, I will not look for you, right? So obviously it wasn't a simple blocking and I didn't just hear from her again the way Dabota was trying to paint it, okay? Because if you watch the reunion, when she was explaining the whole story, Dabota made it seem as if, oh, Carolyn is just someone she has met only twice and she has started with maybe once, Dabota tried to downplay the relationship very, very well, while Carolyn on the other hand tried to explain to us that it wasn't as simple as Dabota was trying to make it sound. Like they had a lot more conversations and a lot more interactions over the space of 1 year, okay? But in Dabota's mind, she doesn't count all those things. I'm sure in her mind, she was like, I was just using it for what I needed you for at that point. Like, it's not that deep, right? But for Carolyn, it was that deep. So, I don't know if you guys get the explanation now. So, for me, my own verdict is that this is just a clear case of miscommunication and attachment styles, right? Carolyn seems to be the anxious attachment style kind of, person, while Dabota seems to have the avoidant attachment style. That's why they could not mesh, okay? Because they are seeing things from two different perspectives. I don't believe that Dabota was lying. I believe that everything she said, yes, she also omitted some things, but I believe that everything she's saying from her own perspective is the truth. I also believe that Carolyn, everything she's saying from her own perspective is the truth. But the problem is that they are not meant to be friends, okay? Forget that, oh, you are both married to billionaires and you both ex-wives or whatever. Forget all of that. You both as human beings, you do not work well as friends, or your relationship is not going to work well because you guys are two very totally different human beings, right? So that's just basically how I see the situation. Yeah, nobody is right, nobody is wrong. They are both hurt. In fact, if you see the way Dabota was talking, it was obvious that Dabota was really, really hurt by the situation. Carolyn, her own, obviously she was hurt, and she said it there. She was hurt, like, she knows where it is pinching her. And let's even cut Carolyn some slack, okay? Yes, it might sound like I'm defending Carolyn a lot, but yes, I'm going to defend her because obviously you people are just trying to see things as from one side. She did a lot on the show. She did too much on the show, but when we see the truth, let's just say it, right? Now, I think a major factor in how Carolyn is behaving is that she saw shege in that her marriage, right? She saw shege in that her marriage. You see that when they say the rich also cry? You see all those songs, I'd rather be crying in a Bentley. You just pray that you don't cry because the location will not matter, okay? Just pray that you are not crying, whether it is Bentley or Ferrari or Keke or Boss. Just pray that you're not crying, because when those tears start coming, you're not even going to remember where you are, right? So I think Carolyn really saw shege in that her marriage that now gave her the courage. Because if you guys, I remember telling people these things, but it's like some of you are very young. Carolyn was Carolyn. It's not now. I thought Carolyn's brand to me is now trying to pick up again because she's now joined Housewives. She's now coming back. Carolyn then was one of the, I knew her then as Carolyn Ekanem. Like, she was many people's fantasy fave then, until she married this man and she left Nollywood after marrying him. She wasn't in social media again. She had her kids. Once or twice you'll see her maybe on his birthday or something, right? But she wasn't posting. She was just suppressed, right? And according to what I heard, even though she was with a man, she didn't have money. Like, he would take care of her, but he wasn't giving her money. And on top of that, the multiple cheating, the multiple women up and down. And again, people keep saying, oh, Carolyn's accusing everybody of coming to her marriage. it's not true. Carolyn did not accuse anybody on the show of coming into her marriage. People keep saying, oh, yeah, before you say it was Toyin. She never accused Toyin of coming into her marriage, right? It was the other way around. She was talking about how Toyin was always accusing everybody of coming into everybody of sleeping with her ex-boyfriend or whatever, her baby daddy, right? That was the opposite. People don't see, maybe because I watched the show to analyze it, maybe that's why so many things stick in my head, okay? Carolyn did not accuse Toyin of coming into her marriage. Neither did she accuse Dabota of coming into her marriage. What she accused Dabota of is that Dabota did not have her back in the sense of she felt that Dabota followed a mistress to. It's almost like me and you are friends. Let me not use me, can never be me. But you and somebody, you are just friends. You might not be best friends, but you guys think you are close enough, right? And then you are having issues in your marriage, and then you see the person in your house doing Snapchats or smiling and laughing with your husband's side chick. Of course you feel hurt. Why are people acting like it's not? Of course you feel hurt now. Like, except you are stoned, there's no way you will not feel hurt. Yeah, that marriage was really hell for Carolyn, and I'm sure she's glad that she's out of that situation right now. People keep saying, oh, she's holding on to. I don't think she's holding on to her ex-husband. In fact, in season 1, she only had nice things to say about him. She would say, oh, even though it didn't work out between us, he's a good father. She respected him and all of that. Okay, so I don't think that she's holding on to the man the way people are saying. It's just that at the time that it hurts, it actually hurts. Like, she's a human being. It's okay for her to feel hurt by the whole situation, right? And so because of the hurt that she felt then, she's now trying to explain that her hurt right now. That's why it's now coming out as if, no, she's accusing people now of doing things in her marriage. No, she's just explaining how she felt at that time. And it's fine. Okay, again, like I said, I am not saying Dabota is wrong either. Dabota, to me, was just seeing things differently from a different perspective. And that's why she was hurt as well, that Carolyn was coming at her with all these accusations and all this. Because she was saying that, Dabota even said it, that is even now, she's even understanding that they had that kind of relationship. Because to her, it was just one of those people on the internet that you just reach out to or reach out to you. Also, it was made clear that Dabota accused Carolyn of sleeping with her own ex-husband just to hurt Carolyn. It wasn't the truth, okay? Because if you even check the dates that Carolyn mentioned, Carolyn said she knew the guy in 2005. And after that, she hadn't seen the guy again. In 2005, Carolyn was just 17 years. So, yeah, but obviously, from what Dabota herself said, she only brought that up just to spite Carolyn because Carolyn was calling her a snake. Carolyn also took accountability of getting physical with Dabota. She said she regretted her actions, but she was actually hurt. So she's not regretting confronting Dabota, but she's regretting putting hands on Dabota. And to be honest, if you look at their personalities as well on the show, or even if you can deduce their personalities from their social media, Dabota seems to be a very serious-minded businesswoman who is all about her bag, all about her money. Okay, she's very upward thinking. Her own is about impact, about business, about growing her brand. That's what Dabota seems to be very focused on. And people like that, whether we like it or not, people like that are not people who really care so much about all these friendships, all these women, mahala, all these. In fact, if you check it, I think her and Laura are the ones that really care the least about all these women on the show, right? So that's how I see Dabota. Carolyn, on the other hand, seems to be someone, of course, she's also a businesswoman. She's also all about her money and stuff. But I think she's more of a relationship type of person. She loves love. She loves relationship. She loves friendship. She loves love. It talks about love, relationship, kissing, this one, sensuality, all those things, which Dabota doesn't really care about, right? So they cannot work as friends. That's just what I'm trying to explain here, and it is fine. Whether you are Team Dabota or you are Team Carolyn, being Team Carolyn does not mean that Dabota is a bad person. Yes, she has her flaws like every other person, but she is not a bad person. She's just a different type of person. And if you are Team Dabota, it doesn't mean that Carolyn is a bad person. She is not a bad person. She is just a different type of person. And it's okay to not like the other person, but don't rewrite history. Don't twist what we are watching. Don't interpret nonsense. Because I'm like, I see some things and I'm like, what does this even mean? Don't interpret nonsense. Don't come and say, oh, Carolyn is such a diabolical liar. Okay, explain how she's a liar. You cannot explain. Point out the lie she has mentioned. You cannot explain. Don't come and say, oh, Dabota is such a manipulator. Explain how she's manipulating. You cannot explain. The essence of us dissecting these shows and giving our opinions on these shows is for us to better understand human beings and the human experience. So there's no point like tightening chest and being team this person, team that person. Like, they're not going to pay you money to be defending anybody the way you defend people, okay? They're not going to come and say, oh, you are Dabota's biggest fan, or yeah, take this 10 million naira so that you'll be happy. They're not going to do it for you. So when you want to criticize the opponents, okay, because that's how people see it. You are seeing it as opponents. Fine. Me, I don't see it that way, but that's how you are seeing it. When you want to criticize the opponent, be truthful about your criticism. Be honest about your criticism. Don't die and then go to hell because you are defending Dabota. Like, it's not worth your soul, okay? It's not worth your soul. So be honest in your criticism about people. There are things that Carolyn does and I'm like, what is wrong with Carolyn? There are things that Dabota does and I'm like, okay, what is wrong with this person? But it doesn't mean that I will now come and manufacture things about Dabota and lie that Dabota did this, Dabota said that, Dabota, when she did not do it, obviously on this show that we can all watch and it's there on Showmax. Anyway, that's enough of that. Now, let's conclude this video because it's becoming very long. So the reunion ends with Uti asking the ladies what next. Then Sophia says, oh, she's writing a book, her store launching, blah blah blah. Then she then says, oh, my boat is still my boat. Then now said, oh, that she's going to invite all the ladies to her house to show them her house and show them her boat. Then she now uses opportunity to now try to defend herself again, saying that the ladies should not use what is written about them on blogs to come at each other, because she could come at Dabota and tell Dabota that Dabota, rented her mall and she's not the owner of her mall. And then Dabota now said, that she did not say she's the owner of the mall, or that yes, of course, she leased it, so she did not say she built it. But I was like, okay, Dabota, if you just backtrack just a little bit to the last episode, okay? Because my memory is very, very sharp. If you backtrack to the last part 1 of this reunion, you said, everything I own, I'm honest about it. My house, my mall, what did she even call that? Of course, basically, if you lease it, you own it, right? Anyway, let's leave that part. Then, when she was talking about Carolyn, she said, when I was building my mall. So, did you build the mall, or did you rent the mall, or did you, Anyway, I don't even think that she was trying to lie. Maybe she just said it because she considers the, structuring and renovating of the mall and, basically creating the mall. I feel like that's what she considers building the mall. So I don't even think she lied, right? But if we want to be technical about it too, Sophia said she doesn't own the boat, but it's a family boat. So if it's either we are all lying or we are all just technically, explaining the reality. Okay. However, what I'll say is that Sophia, let's just leave that boat issue, okay? Because the more you try to defend yourself, the more you are digging your hole even further, because get boats, or you don't own a boat, you don't own a boat. Like, I don't even understand this need. Again, is that Lagos girl? I don't know. Sorry to everybody that lives in Lagos. I'm sorry. I don't mean people that live in Lagos, but you guys know what we talk about Lagos girls. It's basically, when we talk about UK girls and Lagos girls, is those particular girls we're talking about, not every girl that lives in Lagos, okay? Or every girl that lives in the UK. It is that typical Lagos girl behavior of always throwing name brands up and down, always trying to carry designers, whether they're fake or not real, always trying to pose, borrow pose, acting pose. It's still that same thing that I feel like is coming to play with, this whole Sophia boat thing. You don't own a boat, you don't own a boat. Nobody expects you on a normal day to even own a boat. Like, I don't get it. It's not like nobody expects you to own a boat, and if you even own a boat self, like, it doesn't really add anything to the conversation. Okay, so yeah, there's no point you just going on and on about you own a boat. Like, it at this point, it's embarrassing. It's even embarrassing for your fans, because they are bending over backwards. Even in my comment section, they are bending over backwards trying to defend nonsense. There's no point trying to defend it. She lied. She borrowed. Like, I'm not seeing videos on social media about her on a different boat. Did you see the ownership? Did you see the deed or the whatever of that boat? They only rent boats. So just because somebody puts boat on their Snapchat or wherever, you believe they own it. They only rent boats. So anyway, but I get where Sophia was coming from. I think it's actually low for ladies on the show to bring up stuff from blogs and then use it on each other on the show, because they are all celebrities, so they should try and be mindful. Anyway, that brings us to the end of this season. My final thoughts on this season is that the season was not as interesting as we are. I think some of us are even trying to make it sound more interesting than it actually was. It wasn't as interesting, but they tried. Okay, Carolyn should be given a raise. They need to deduct money from Laura's money and give Carolyn. Yes, they need to start paying them according to who brings drama to the show. You see, Carolyn is number one when it comes to bringing drama. Anyhow you want it, she go give them to you, right? Then followed by Miriam. Yes, followed by Miriam. Then before Dabota. Dabota's own is even more because of how she, gave fire for fire because of Carolyn. Okay, but followed by Dabota. Then before Diadem, I think Dabota and Diadem, then Sophia, then Laura. So deduct money from Sophia and Laura and give it to Carolyn, because she really carried this show single-handedly. Now, people are saying that she shouldn't have come back. Personally, I think she should have come back. Like, I'm happy that she came back. However, I think that Carolyn needs to learn from Miriam that this show is not or shouldn't be that deep. Okay, like Miriam now, you don't really hear much about Miriam's marriage or Miriam's close friendships or anything. Like, the only time that Miriam's close friendship came under scrutiny was when she was because Toyin was also on the show. But anybody that's not on the show, anybody that's really deep with her, you don't really hear about it on the show. So my advice to Carolyn is that if you are going to come back for season 4, I don't even think she might come back, because she really received hits this period. Maybe not, but if she's going to come back, keep it light-hearted. Don't be going too deep. Keep it light and simple. Like, you can give the gbas-gbos, you can give the drama, but keep it light and simple. Leave your ex-husband and all his shenanigans out of it. Leave other people that are not on the show out of it. Just focus on the issues on the show and just, leave it there. There's no point. This show is not worth it for you to be bringing so many deep issues on the show. It's not worth it. And in case you do not know, it is obvious that the organizers don't like you that much. Okay, people will argue that one and Nasabi. It is obvious that the organizers of this show do not like Carolyn that much. They will use her for their drama. They will use her to drive the show, but they obviously do not like her that much. Okay, the edit, even during this reunion, some of her responses, you could tell that it was not from the beginning. They were just cutting some of her responses. Well, for everybody as well, but Carolyn's own, I feel like implicit that it would have mattered. They cut some of her responses, which is all fine, which is all good, which is all dandy, because that's what you signed up for, right? You put yourself at the mercy of these people. You basically open up your life and then allow them write your story, right? So if you signed up for that, then whatever you see, take it. However, moving forward, all these ladies, not only just Carolyn, all these ladies, when you come back on this show, give us drama, give us entertainment, give us fun, give us beauty, give us fashion, give us, glam, business, lifestyle, all those things. Give us all of those. But remember that this show is not worth it. People like us will come and analyze the show. We will fight in the comment section. You get team this, team that, but it does not benefit you at the end of the day. The negative press that comes from this show, they say, oh, all press is good press. Now lie. I don't believe in that. Now lie. Some press will never leave you. See that thing now that Carolyn said about Laura being pimped, and even Dabota says Carolyn slept with her ex-husband, which did not happen. All these things are obviously, even on the show, we know that it did not happen. These ladies just said these things to hurt each other, right? But in real life, people are running with it. People believe that it happened. People don't want to know that, oh, Carolyn said it did not happen, or Carolyn apologized. People don't want to know that, oh, Laura did not, or Dabota did not. No, they don't care. They just want to run with it. So not all press is good press, okay? But yeah, overall it was an okay season. Hopefully next season we get to see more drama and we get to see more ladies. I hope they can bring someone else and maybe remove Laura. I think Laura has run her course at this point. But let's see how it goes. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you all in my next video. Bye guys.